Hey, what's up, it's Hugo here, and today I want to talk about the also popular topic at the moment, which is Xbox One versus PlayStation 4. And I know I'm a little late about this because there's been hundreds of other videos on other channels that I've already covered and compared these two consoles. But I do want to still express my thoughts on it because I tend to have a different opinion than most of the people. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about the gaming console. So if you're not a gamer, you might have no idea what I'm talking about, but recently Sony and Microsoft announced their two new consoles or next generation consoles that are going to be released quite soon or at the end of the year. And it's kind of a big thing because it only happens once every 7 years now or so. So it doesn't happen that often that they announce these new consoles. That's why I kind of want to cover it and my opinions. I'm first going to start off with only facts and then my opinions on each of those. So let's get started. The first thing, the price. The Xbox One is $500 when the PlayStation 4 is $400. So obviously PlayStation 4 has the advantage when it comes to the price. Hardware wise, the PlayStation 4 has a slightly better hardware. It has faster RAM, so you're going to have shorter loading screens most probably in games, as well as a better GPU, which means graphics. So it processes graphics faster or better, however you want to see that. But it's not going to be better graphics, or it's not going to be a huge difference compared to the Xbox One graphics wise, but it might be just a little bit faster. But I do want to talk about that real quick because a lot of people think, oh, because the PlayStation 4 has better hardware than the Xbox One, it's going to be an overall better console. Hardware is not the only thing that judges the performance or how good thing looks. Software is also a big part of that. How efficiently software runs on hardware is also kind of important. So I think all the people that are looking at the hardware and simply judging the console's power by the hardware are a little bit ignorant of the software. Because software is quite important, and it's not only on consoles, it's also on phones. When it comes to iOS and Android, certain software just runs more efficiently than others, and Microsoft has always been very good at software. Obviously, that's why they're called Microsoft, because they make software and they're quite good at it. Now, if you look at the last generation, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3 also had better hardware than the Xbox 360, yet all the cross-platform games, such as Call of Duty or other cross-platform games pretty much, still looked better on Xbox 360. Why? Because mainly they were developed on Xbox 360. It was easier to develop for Xbox 360, and then they kind of got ported to PlayStation 3. So the only games that really looked very good on PlayStation 3 were the exclusive games. PlayStation did mention that they've renewed their whole dev kit thing, and they've made it much easier for developers to develop for the PlayStation 4. So hopefully that is the case. If so, they might actually eventually end up having better looking games. Who knows? So next up, I also want to quickly talk about the online service. There's Xbox Live and PlayStation Network and PlayStation Plus. Sorry if I shake my mic. Both of these subscription will be required. You will have to pay for them monthly if you want to play multiplayer online games such as Battlefield, Call of Duty, all those kind of games. You will have to buy these subscriptions or pay for them monthly. That's something that's new. It didn't used to be like that on the PlayStation side of things. And next up, I quickly want to talk about the Kinect. Xbox One standard comes with Kinect as well as a TV setup box kind of built in. You can put in your TV HDMI input straight into your Xbox and then watch TV on your Xbox or through your Xbox. Watch Netflix and play games. So it's pretty much an all-in-one console. That's really what they were going for. That's something PlayStation doesn't have, but then again, not everyone wants a Kinect. I think most people don't want to Kinect. Some people do want to Kinect. So, and last but definitely not least, the actual games that are on it. For now, Xbox One has announced more Xbox One exclusive games for their consoles than PlayStation, but I think that once again isn't really that important. You shouldn't look at whoever announced or has more exclusive games. You should look at whoever has more exclusive games that you want to play, that you want to buy. Because if they have more exclusive games, although you don't want to play any of them, there's no point of going for that console. So go for whoever has the most exclusive that you want to play. I think that's very important on that point. And lastly, I also want to talk about one of the, in my opinion, the biggest mistake that Microsoft made. Initially, when Microsoft announced their console, they announced this policy where they wanted you to be always connected to the internet when playing games, and also that games were going to be locked to your account. So it's a DRM policy where you wouldn't be able to trade your games anymore, or resell them or anything like that. So they were locked to your account. Nobody else could play those games anymore. And a lot of people didn't like that at all. A lot of people complained, and a lot of people started switching from Xbox to PlayStation and all that kind of stuff. And then Xbox about a week ago announced that they decided to take that back, drop the DRM policy, all that kind of stuff, the always online kind of thing. They decided to just drop that and say, hey, ignore all the stuff we just said. We're sorry. We're pretty much going back to the way it used to be. And now you're able to trade Xbox One games and stuff like that again. And I think that the dropping of that policy is probably the biggest mistake. I think for consoles that have such a huge lifespan of like 5-7 years, there has to be more innovation than just the hardware. Because right now, if you can still trade your games, still resell your games and stuff like that, both consoles are pretty much on the same level right now, except price-wise, obviously. And they're pretty much exactly the same as the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, except they just have better hardware inside them, so your games are going to look better and run faster or whatever. But that's pretty much exactly the same. Except for that, there's very little innovation except for the TV setup box, but that's not really a huge thing when it comes to the Xbox One and stuff like that. And I think the DRM policy that Microsoft initially introduced was probably was gonna be really good on a long term. Although the biggest mistake that Microsoft did is that they didn't explain why they were implementing these restrictions. And I think that's where Microsoft had this biggest mistake when they originally announced the Xbox One. They said, hey, here's the Xbox One, here are the restrictions. It doesn't work everywhere in the world. There's some areas where it doesn't work. You have to be always connected. You have to check in every 24 hours. You won't be able to trade or sell your game. So they told us all these restrictions, although they never told us these benefits of these restrictions or any kind of compensation for these restrictions. And I think that's the biggest mistakes, because if they would have, it would have been received much more positively, in my opinion, because I think there's a lot of benefits to having this DRM policy. First off, it pushes the digital download way more. Why would you go out to a shop, buy a CD, if you can't trade it, you can't resell it anyway? You might as well stay home, download it straight from your Xbox, right? As long as you have a good connection, it shouldn't take that long to do. So it pushes digital download. By pushing digital download, it also pushes games to be much cheaper, to drop in price much faster, and to have much more sale more often. And that's the way it is right now on Steam. So for you guys that don't know Steam, it's the platform on computers on which you can buy games, and they have exactly the same policy as Microsoft wanted to have. You can't trade your games, you can't resell your games, you have to be connected to the internet, all that kind of stuff. But nobody really complains about it because it's such a good platform. They have sales on a daily basis. They have big sales like during Christmas, summertime. They have sales of like publishers all throughout the year, and there's pretty much constant sales. And by that I don't mean like 10% off, I mean like 50 or 75% off, which is kind of a huge thing. And nobody complains about the fact that they have this DRM policy and you can't trade your games, because they have all these sales and lower prices, and the games drop in prices much faster because it's all downloadable and it's not in retail. And I think that if Xbox had kept their DRM policy and simply explained it properly in the beginning, the benefits of what that could do to to the gaming industry or the Xbox One, if they would have told us, we're gonna have all these restrictions, but we're gonna the games are gonna drop in price faster. We're gonna have sales throughout the whole year, maybe just like Steam, a sale every day of a game. Games are going to be generally overall cheaper, pretty much. It would have been, once again, accepted in a much more positive way. And I think that's where Microsoft had their biggest mistake. They didn't explain that, so a lot of people got angry, complained, and didn't really see the point of getting an Xbox One over PlayStation 4. It was simply more expensive, more restrictions, you couldn't trade your games, couldn't resell your games. What's the point? Because Microsoft didn't explain what the point was. And yeah, that was the biggest mistake they had, in my opinion. And because they didn't explain it well, they were pretty much forced to kind of remove that whole policy, because not enough people were going to buy the Xbox One otherwise, and they were kind of screwed. So I think I'm kind of disappointed in both, once again, because of the lack of innovation and lack of something really new, except hardware-wise, of course. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion. I think I'm going to wait until the release date to kind of see. I think the price of the Xbox One might actually still drop before release, who knows, or might drop really quickly after release. So I think everybody should just wait until they get released before buying them, and not pre-order them, because things can change. But you know, then again, you can always cancel your pre-order, so that's just fine. But that's kind of my thoughts, and I'd really much appreciate if you guys would leave this video a like, and especially if you guys would comment your thoughts on this topic in the comments down below. I'll definitely be looking at the comment section and replying to comments, and I'm really interested in knowing what you guys think. And yeah, about this whole situation. I think PlayStation overall had a really good E3, and really had a great comeback from their previous generation, which didn't do so well compared to the PlayStation 2, for example, which was like huge. But yeah, hopefully you guys will comment down below, and I'll thank you a lot for watching once again, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.